Hi, and welcome to Delta Institute's 9th annual Boost. I'm Bill Schleiser, Delta Institute's CEO, and I'm here to thank you for participating with us virtually in this first time that we've had to do it this way. It's definitely been an interesting 2020, but I have to say Delta Emerging Leaders have done a remarkable job in turning this from a live pitch fest into one that's 100% fully virtual. I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk to you about Delta Institute. Delta is a nonprofit organization based here in Chicago that works throughout the Midwest directly with communities to collaborate on solving complex environmental challenges. We envision a region where all landscapes and communities can thrive. And we do that through a whole variety of projects and initiatives and partnerships because we have such a wide-ranging set of challenges in front of us. And I think we've experienced that more this year than in any other year. And our diverse portfolio ranges from working on land conservation and stewardship to climate change, smart regenerative food systems, community resilience, waste reduction and reuse, stormwater infrastructure, and we're really working on making our built environment more sustainable overall. And I encourage all of you to go to our website or follow us on social media to see what else we've been up to. You can go directly to www.delta-institute.org. And we got a whole bunch of information, tools, resources, things that can help you make your communities more sustainable or learn more about these diverse topics that we work on. Now, before we go into the finalists, I do want to take some time out to thank all of the sponsors who've helped make this virtual event happen. This is our flagship event for the Delta Emerging Leaders, and without our sponsors, it really wouldn't come to fruition. So thank you to our platinum sponsors, People's Gas and RW Ventures, our gold sponsors, Carbon Yield, Nancy Garoon-Legner, and the Walter S. Mander Foundation. You guys are fantastic. Also, we've got 8 Rivers, Chicago Leadership Alliance, Loyola University Chicago School of Environmental Sustainability, and Wolf Computer Associates, who are all of our blue sponsors this year. Thanks again. And also, I gotta give it to the board. The Delta Emerging Leaders this year have really put on a fantastic event. I can't wait for you to meet the finalists.
For the first of our 4 finalists, we have Yolanda and Aisha with the Chicago Environmental Educators Incorporated. This group works to support the integration of environmental justice with environmental science teaching for educators across Chicago classrooms.
Yeah, so you're the one who was in the now. Justice now.
Did you guys enjoy our introduction video? Well, we know you did because we're Chicago environmental educators. And first of all, we want to thank you for having us as one of the 4 finalists for Delta Emerging Leaders. But we also wanted to give a shout out to the other finalists because you guys are doing a great job. And we're super excited to see what you guys have for us today.
So what is the mission for Chicago Environmental Educators? Our goal is to create a supportive network for Chicago educators who teach environmental science or topics within environmental science in the formal and informal classroom.
We also support BIPOC educators and create an enriching community to address environmental justice issues in the Chicagoland area. And to your right, you will see a map for those that do not live in Chicago or the surrounding areas to have an idea of what it looks like.
And BIPOC means Black, Indigenous, People of Color, or queer. My name is Aisha Kazi.
And my name is Yolanda Wilhite.
And so a little bit about me. I am a doctoral student at UIC. I study environmental education. I'm a CPS teacher. I teach AP Environmental Science, and I'm also a Science and Education Associate at the Field Museum. As an American, Afghan, Pakistani educator and scientist, I feel like we all work in various silos and there's not much of a network or community that connects us and our experiences together. And so myself and Yolanda, as co-founders of CEE, we found a way to create a network that's ongoing, that doesn't expire, and it's there for anyone who wants to be there to grow and learn from each other.
Like what Aisha said, I myself also identify as a double minority, African American and female. My name is Yolanda Wilhite. I work at the Field Museum, and Aisha and I actually founded CEE at the Field Museum based on wanting to dismantle barriers for people of color, and it comes to underrepresented and underserved communities to receive scientific and environmental needs.
And so some of the events that we've done this past year includes collaborating with various community organizations. That includes the American Indian Center, the Shedd Aquarium, University of Illinois at Chicago, Little Village Environmental Justice Organization, El Vejo, Open Lands, and other political leaders.
We've also connected more on a local level. We have worked with We Keep You Rolling, which is a Far South Side community organization. We've also done members nights where we have anybody, formal, informal teachers that come in and do community check-ins with us to learn who's all in the area and who's doing what. And this year, we've also started a book club. The book that we just finished reading was from an Indigenous perspective.
And so some of our short-term goals includes trying to do community events with local community organizations and hosting workshops that focus from marginalized lens, including Black, Asian, LGBTQ lens, since we've already done 2 workshops focusing on Native and Latinx lens.
And for the long term, we're looking at intergenerational and also interracial summer program with collaboration with community organizations and institutions. And these programs will not only bring out young adults, high school and up, as well as the community and teachers that are interested in participating to learn more about environmental education and science.
And so what does supporting CE mean? Well, a lot of the funds, because we don't charge anyone to be part of this network, tends to fall on myself and Yolanda to cover. And so any sort of support is going to help cover organizational fees to eliminate program cost for program participants.
CE is also a major push for underrepresented community-based employees to receive stipends. And we also believe that providing monetary incentive for underpaid teachers and nonprofit employees will help to continue professional development so they can take those resources back to their communities and to their students. Those resources that they potentially can receive are scientific resources. The funding will also help us to provide these science-based materials for teacher and student utilization.
Help our community. Support our goal to bring opportunities to BIPOC educators.
Vote CEE, Chicago Environmental Educators. You have the opportunity now to dismantle barriers for teachers, informal and formal, to receive scientific resources.
Next up, we have Sunny with Dynamics Incorporated. This business seeks to identify a community's carbon footprint with solutions to reduce emissions over time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sunny Sanwar. I'm the founder and CEO of Dynamics, a minority-owned climate action company. We help communities across the U.S. both plan for, implement, and track progress on climate change, particularly meeting climate targets represented by the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Originally, I'm from Bangladesh, a country that is currently struggling with sea level rise from climate change. So it's something that's very near and dear to me, and something that drives me every day to figure out solutions for and help communities plan for this possibility. You know, around the U.S. and broadly communities across the world, climate change has rippling effects on communities' health. Social equities is an important entity. However, emissions are invisible, and we don't know where they're coming from, and it hampers our ability to understand what we should do as a result. At Dynamics, that's been our number one goal. We help visualize every pound and tonnage of different types of emissions that come in any neighborhood or come from any community anywhere in the US. With Dynamics, different individuals and groups in any community that want to collaborate in drawing down these invisible emissions that we visualize can now come together in a collaborative platform to understand which projects need to be implemented and where. About the Chicago communities, each resident, each individual, each school, each building can now understand where the emissions for their communities are coming from and what it is that they can do in order to reduce their footprint. Solution providers, such as the great solution providers you'll hear from today, can suggest their solutions on the platform so that people in the community could implement those solutions or help support those implementations. We gather data from various different sources, mostly city and county tax rolls and different models developed by the United States Department of Energy and the Environmental Protection Agency. And we make it specific to that specific community. Thereby, we measure bottom-up emissions that is trackable at the very granular level. And closer, each of the buildings you could hover over and understand what the footprint is for that building or set of buildings, and look at different options that are available for that building and site specifically to measurably reduce their emissions. Each reduction methodology or each solution has its own details, and you can track them over time, you can suggest them, share them, and support them. We are layering community-specific measures such as conservation of energy or energy efficiency, reduction of waste, and any low-carbon, low-emission project that you can think of, with a measurable focus on impact, where we hard-code climate hope. With Dynamics, any community can now turn code into local policy. In the Midwest, we've done some great work with Kansas, Missouri, and elsewhere, which we've been part of citywide resolutions that we are the tool and methodology of choice to reduce community-wide emission. We've been very lucky to be selected by Exelon Corporation here in Chicago for their inaugural 2C2I program, which is the Climate Change Investment Initiative. And not just the technology, which is geared to solving social equity issues. Internally at Dynamics, we are very cognizant of our role in helping different disadvantaged and disenfranchised groups to take the lead on this. Imagine a world where now, for every community, you can understand what it is that you need to do. You can understand where to put in the efforts, and thereby you can get to impact a lot quicker with the help of your collaborators and community members, and deploying the right solutions at the right time. With Dynamics, that's exactly what you can do. With the Delta Boost Award, we want to empower a Chicagoland community of 5,000 individuals or under. It could be a small town, it could be a zip code, it could be a local neighborhood. We want to empower them and give access to the tool so they have the ability to understand their community level impact, so they could garner attention around the issue. They can educate people who are consuming different products and services, but also be the solution providers that deploy such products and services, such as the one you'll hear from today. My name is Sunny Sanwar with Dynamics. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Joanne with Mycocycle. Mycocycle uses regenerative processes utilizing fungi called mycoremediation to divert waste from landfills for reuse by removing harmful toxins out of our waste streams.
All of our asphalt waste goes to the dump. It takes time and money to haul it there, and it isn't sustainable. We want to reduce our footprint and develop an opportunity to do something different with our waste.
Mycocycle exists to transform trash to treasure. We're using the power of mushrooms to clean up the messes that we've made. There are so many materials that we can address through mycoremediation that are hitting landfill currently. We see the opportunity to create a value stream and then re-enter it into manufacturing to make a usable byproduct.
One of the most important roles that fungi fulfill in the environment is as decomposers. They're really nature's greatest chemists on so many fronts, and especially in the way that they're able to uniquely break down some of the most complex chemicals of the natural world, as well as some of the most complex toxins that humans have invented.
Not everybody can have an effect on all parts of their own supply chain, so it's really important to have businesses like Mycocycle that are taking a look at these problems that in a way are being created by these other industries and finding ways to help those industries out.
If Mycocycle is successful, we probably shouldn't see a single second of it. Like the idea that mycelium recycles materials for us should just happen in the background while we go along our daily lives. And that's kind of the key to sustainable efforts and solving a global warming crisis, is making it easy for people to understand how to contribute.
I'm Joanne Rodriguez, founder of Mycocycle. For 30 years, I've worked in the construction products manufacturing space, and I've been a longtime sustainability leader. Having worked with clients from coast to coast on trying to reduce their waste and lessen their greenhouse gases, I quickly learned that the materials that we manufactured and that our industry manufactured were toxic to the environment. Because the construction materials use largely oil and petrochemical derivatives as the basis of their performance, much of them contain heavy metals and carcinogens. And up until now, these materials were landfilled or burned, contributing to air and water pollution, and as a result to long-term environmental and health issues. So in 2018, I decided there had to be a more sustainable path forward. And I started collaborating with my mycologist, Peter McCoy. We developed a patent pending process training fungi. Yep, we train mushrooms to eat asphalt and clean toxins out of waste. It's about as simple as that. And we were very excited about the test results, about the opportunity to not only treat toxins out of waste to de-risk it, but to create new materials. And so IKEA, most notably, is using mushroom-based packaging 100%. They use mycelium as a replacement for plastic because it's biodegradable. And there are other companies that are using mycelium in replacement for plastic because they also see the beneficial use of that. And so we have an opportunity to go circular in the process. And as a result, we've gained a lot of recognition and validation from the United Nations, the National Renewable Energy Labs, but also Fast Company, which was super cool. And this summer, we won a grant from the Clean Tech Open National Accelerator around a pivot related to business disruption during COVID. And what resulted is us developing a new treatment protocol considering ex situ soil remediation. So the mycological remediation of soil and waste. And so really got me thinking about the grassroots efforts and the need to try to support mycological remediation in communities. So we would like, with the Boost grant, to be able to get the results of our ex situ bench testing out into the field, lend mycological support and education, raise an awareness about not only the issue, but the opportunity to clean up these areas using nature. And we'd like to do that side by side with the advocacy groups that are already embedded in these communities. And the overall intent would be to improve human and environmental health. And so how could you help us? By voting. Go to mycocycle.com and subscribe, and also follow us on Twitter at mycocycle for updates. Most importantly, though, continue to support organizations like the Delta Institute. Their work is critical for the environmental health of the Midwest ecosystem. So thank you for the Dells for hosting Boost 2020. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to present here, and we hope that you will support Mycocycle in our pursuits to clean up trash and create treasure.
For our last finalist, we have Gavi and Remy with Zumwalt Acres, a regenerative agriculture community. This initiative takes place in Sheldon, Illinois, and seeks to restore soil and combat climate change while strengthening their local community.
Hi, I'm Gavi. And I'm her sister Remy.
We are the 6th generation of the Zumwalt family farmers on this land. For as long as I can remember, corn and soy has filled all the fields around us for hundreds of miles.
In the span of a couple generations, industrial agriculture has stripped rural communities like ours of thriving ecosystems. Conventional farming is one of the leading contributors to climate change, emitting greenhouse gas and toxic pollutants into our air and waterways while producing food that is low in nutritional value.
We believe that sustainable farming can generate nourishing food products and effective climate change mitigation. Policymakers, researchers, farmers, and the broader public are realizing that smarter farming is a key pathway towards maintaining a livable planet.
This summer, after years of hearing stories of our dad's dreams to start a perennial farm on this land, we realized it was time to actualize our vision. We took to our family farm and transformed it into Zumwalt Acres, a regenerative agricultural initiative in Sheldon, Illinois. What does regenerative agriculture mean? It means that we are dedicated to restoring the natural health of the soil and to combating climate change. We focus on 3 big ideas: raising food-bearing trees in an agroforest, turning farm waste into carbon-capturing fertilizer called biochar, and improving soil management practices. These changes will allow us to create a cost-effective, carbon-negative model farm, and by using scientific approaches to demonstrate the immense economic and ecological benefits of sustainable farming, we can be leaders in the future of Midwestern agriculture.
We love our soil and trees. We know that they are our first defenses against environmental catastrophe. So instead of degrading the land and clear-cutting forests for conventional farming, we're replanting native trees, shrubs, and other perennial plants. Our food-bearing trees will draw huge amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, especially compared to annual crops like corn and soy. Besides capturing carbon, the practice of growing trees for food and fodder, known as agroforestry, will reinvigorate native ecosystems by restoring the soil and providing habitats for wildlife.
We also repurpose agricultural leftovers like tree prunings, nutshells, and corn husks to make biochar by burning them in a controlled fire. Mixing the high-carbon charcoal with soil and compost transforms it into an organic soil amendment that nourishes the next generation of crops. Once buried in the soil, biochar stores carbon for thousands of years, while enriching the soil and promoting plant growth.
While our project addresses global environmental challenges, we also strive to empower local farm communities. By working alongside farmers who have been managing this land for years, we will build a framework for regenerative, cost-effective farming that is transferable to other farms in the region. We are creating a space for young farmers to learn and practice a form of agriculture that addresses the crises facing our generation head-on. So far, we have received funding and support from Yale University, Washington University in St. Louis, and University of California, Santa Cruz. We also collaborate with the Savannah Institute, a regional agroforestry nonprofit. We have begun to build relationships with leaders in agriculture research and education, including the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign and the United States Department of Agriculture.
The Boost Grant will take us to the next level and ensure our longevity. Our next apprentice teams will be arriving in the spring and summer. The Boost Award will be used to fund these teams as they plant trees, make biochar, grow food, and demonstrate what the future of farming can look like. We host teams of 6 to 10 apprentices who live and work on the farm. Our apprentices are people who are passionate about growing food as a way to restore ecological sustainability and environmental justice. We are building a center of learning that inspires young people to steward the land and breathe life into farming communities across the Midwest and beyond. We are working to design a self-sustaining business model to cover the costs of living at Zumwalt Acres. But in the meantime, funding from this grant will be used to provide stipends for the next team of farm apprentices. It is critical to offer a stipend to ensure an apprenticeship program that is accessible to all and fairly compensates individuals for their work.
You can help us support our apprentices and transform Midwestern agriculture by ranking us as your top choice for your vote. Thank you so much for your support.